Hello, hello, hello. Beautiful people, welcome to another live stream. I hope you're all doing fantastic. So, this morning, not to jump right into it too quickly, but this morning I was thinking, what's a good idea for some of the newcomers to my channel, right? Like here recently, we've been growing pretty strongly. I feel like we're seeing more and more new faces in these streams, and what's kind of a good way to get them on track, to get them on board with us. And then I figured, you know what, we'll do a back to the basics. Now I don't know how long we'll be doing the whole back to the basics type streams, but if it is a back to the basics stream, right, you're going to hear that a lot today, you will see it in the title. You will see it plain as day in the title. So these streams are really for my newcomers here who don't really understand what acceptance is, who don't really understand much about their anxiety, much about their panic. And the reason this idea came to me is because the other day I was actually able to speak to a few of the newcomers here on the channel, and they had never even heard about acceptance before. Had never even heard about acceptance, didn't know what was going on with their bodies, with anxiety, with panic, and it just kind of dawned on me, maybe we need to do like a string of streams, maybe 3 or 4, where we do back to the basics, mostly aimed for newcomers. But if you're a veteran here, if you've been here for a while, you probably already know this stuff. However, it doesn't hurt to get a bit of a refresher, right? Doesn't hurt to sharpen your skills a bit, so to speak. So we're going to be doing some back to the basics streams, in the upcoming future. We'll probably do like at least 3 or 4 of these types of streams, and that's the deal. That's where we are right now. Olivia, welcome first in chat today. Good morning. How are you doing? Amanda, good morning. Ivan, good morning. Truth, good morning. Good afternoon from Wells. Good afternoon, Jamie. What up? What is up, Ghost? How you doing? I'm doing great, dude. How are you? Hello, hello all. I can't speak today, apparently. Just want to say I'm grateful for this channel and love you all, and think everyone is doing great. Keep on keeping on, warriors. Thank you for that comment. That was very nice. Good morning to you. I'm a fucking veteran, a comrade. Well, like I said, just because you've been here before and you know all there is to know doesn't hurt at all to get a bit of a refresher, right? Doesn't hurt at all to get a bit of a refresher. So this morning we're going to be talking about, I forget my own stream titles from time to time, anxiety and panic attacks will not harm you. Now this is as bare bones basic as you can get, but that's what we're going to be talking about today. Anxiety and panic attacks cannot harm you. We're going to dive into that a little bit. So good morning, Cher. So we might as well just jump right into it. Let's see. Let's see. Get everything ready in position where I need it to be, and then we'll get started. What's up, Abraham? What's up, Amanda? All right, you guys. Let's go ahead and get this one rolling. So back to the basics. Anxiety and panic attacks will not harm you. Now, when you first start to experience a strong, intense anxiety, right? When you first experience a panic attack, that is a big one. All of these things seem very overwhelming. They seem very intense, and your mind is probably going to start working 1,000 miles an hour, right? Trying to figure out what just happened. Is it harmful? Can it hurt me? The way that this anxiety is making me feel, all of these different symptoms, both mentally and physically, the way this panic is making me feel, this must be harmful to me, right? That's the unfortunate conclusion that most people come to when they first start to experience strong anxiety, and especially panic attacks. The unfortunate conclusion that most people come to right away is that this is far too intense to not be harmful. This must be harmful in some way. This must be dangerous in some way. This might be able to cause some sort of heart attack or stroke or some sort of physical harm to me, some sort of mental harm to me. This could make me go crazy. That is the unfortunate conclusion that most people go straight to when they first start experiencing anxiety, when they first start experiencing panic, right? So back to the basics. I'm here to tell you, Anxiety is your internal alarm system. Anxiety and panic is your internal alarm system. It's supposed to be intense. And the reason it's so intense is to try to get you moving from some sort of danger, fight, flight, or flee, right? And that's why these feelings are so intense. Your body accidentally assumes that there is some danger where there's not, and it creates all of these very intense symptoms, both mentally and physically, in order to save your life. And that's why it's so intense, because it's supposed to be that intense. Now, can it cause you harm? Can it cause you physical harm? Can it cause you mental harm? Thank you so much, Abraham. Thank you so much. I love you. I love you. I love you. Can it cause you physical harm? Can it cause you mental harm? No. The short answer is no. It is there to protect you. It is there to save your life, and it is intense for that reason. But can it cause you any actual physical or mental harm? Absolutely not. Now, I understand, due to the intensity of these symptoms, that you might think that you might believe that, but it is simply not true. Nobody has ever died from a panic attack. A panic attack has never given anybody a heart attack or a stroke or just killed anybody on the spot, right? Nobody in the history of ever has died and it say on their death certificate as a result of a panic attack. That just does not happen. It's unrealistic. It's not going to happen. It is impossible. You will not be killed due to your panic attack. So the short answer is no. Now, can panic or anxiety cause some sort of mental death? And when I say mental death, I say some people are afraid of going insane or losing their shit, going crazy, whatever. That was a fear of mine. Can that happen? No. You're not going to go crazy. You're not going to lose your mind. Just to give you a taste of my own experience, like I said, that was one of my biggest fears. That was one of my biggest intrusive thoughts, was that these feelings are just going to absolutely overwhelm me, and if I can't do something about them, they're eventually just going to cause me to lose my shit, right? They're going to cause me to go insane, to lose my mind and go crazy, and they're going to have to lock me up in a nut house, you know, the whole 9 yards, right? That never happened to me. And it's never happened to anyone that I've ever ran into, right, in the 4 years that I've been doing this. You are not going to go crazy. You are not going to lose your mind, no matter how intense that fear is for you, right? You are not going to just lose your shit due to anxiety. You will always be able to keep it together. You are not going to suffer some sort of mental craziness or insanity, as some might call it, due to your anxiety. Now, that was a big fear of mine. Never happened. Right? And it's never happened. I've been doing this for 4 years. Nobody has ever lost their mind or went crazy or insane from anxiety and panic. So at the end of the day, you really need to remember one thing, and one thing only. Anxiety and panic is there to save your life. Why would it ever want to harm you? Anxiety and panic is your built-in alarm system. It's a little faulty right now, and we need to get it back into order with acceptance. Stop adding gas to the fire, accept it for what it is, and move on with your life. Positive behaviors. Really show that brain that there is no danger. That is my 2 keys, right? I don't want to get too off track, though. But why would it ever harm you? Anxiety and panic is there to try to save your life. It's there to try to get you fighting, fleeing, or freezing, or doing all these things against some danger that doesn't really exist. Your job is to not take its advice and do the opposite, right? Don't fight it. Live positive behaviors. So anxiety is there to save your life. It's not there to harm you. It's not there to hurt you. Nobody has ever died from a panic attack. Nobody has ever went mentally insane or crazy from anxiety. You might think that it's going to happen, and every time the anxiety comes around, every time the panic comes around, you might have yourself convinced that this is going to be the time, right? Like, oh, I survived last time, but I'm not going to survive this time, right? I survived 2 weeks ago, but I'm not going to survive this time. So this is the loop that a lot of people unfortunately keep themselves in, the cycle that a lot of people keep themselves in. But no matter how intense that anxiety is, no matter how intense those panic attacks might be, if you're experiencing panic attacks, this is not going to be the time where you drop dead. This is not going to be the time where you finally lose your mind. Back when I didn't know about acceptance and I was constantly feeding myself all of this negativity, I always told myself, this is going to be the time. It's far too intense. This is going to be the time that I go crazy and lose my mind and go insane, or this is going to be the time that it kills me, right? That time never comes. It never comes, because here's the deal. Anxiety and panic, no matter how intense, are there to try to help you. It might not feel like that, but anxiety and panic, no matter how intense, their job is to try to save your life. It's not going to flip an imaginary switch to make you go crazy or to die. That is not their job, right? That is not their job. That's not why anxiety and panic is a part of you, right? It's a part of you to try to save you from a danger that doesn't exist. It's your job to prove that it doesn't exist with acceptance. But no, they will not harm you. They will not kill you. And this seems so elementary, right? If you've been here for a while, like, this stuff is obvious, but you got to understand, there's probably people out there that don't realize that quite yet. There's probably people out there that don't realize that. They think that their anxiety and panic can cause them some sort of death, a mental or physical death, and it's just not factual. It's just not true. It's never happened. It's not going to happen. Here's the thing, though. I am here to tell you today that anxiety and panic cannot cause you a mental or physical death, right? But you got to experience that for yourself. I'm giving you a little bit of reassurance today. But at some point, you got to be willing to carry on with your life and face this anxiety and panic while using those positive behaviors, right? Continue to live with this anxiety and panic. Stop letting it control your behaviors and prove to yourself that it's not going to kill you or harm you. So I am here today giving a little bit of reassurance to especially newcomers, right, who need this sort of reassurance as they're first getting started. But understand that reassurance is only going to take you so far. Eventually, you have to prove to yourself that the anxiety and panic is not going to harm you. How? By facing it. Right? You've got to prove that to yourself. So let's say, for an example, you're somebody out there is like so afraid of having a heart attack due to a panic attack. You're going to have to prove to yourself that that's not going to happen by facing it, right? Let's say, for example, there's somebody out there that is so afraid of going crazy from anxiety and panic. Well, you're going to have to prove to yourself that that's not going to happen by facing it, right? So I can tell you all day long that it's not going to happen, but the true benefits are going to come from you using acceptance, practicing acceptance, really facing that anxiety and panic with a positive attitude and accepting attitude, and proving to yourself, hey, I didn't have to use that coping method. I didn't have to use that compulsion. I didn't have to do any of that, and this anxiety and panic did not kill me, and it did not make me go crazy, right? So I can reassure you, and I can give you the facts. I can tell you, no, this thing's not going to kill you. It's not going to make you go crazy. And that is the fact, right? That's facts. But if you really want to drive that point home, you got to experience that for yourself. At some point, you got to face this thing, right? I mean, that's all it comes down to. At some point, you do have to face this thing. But this is, like I said, this is a back to the basics stream. This is something that most of you already are probably well aware of. But for those of you who are a newcomer here on the channel, I just wanted to make this stream to kind of cover some of the more basic elements of anxiety and panic, and I figured this was a good one to start with. You might see, like I said, I'm going to try to do like 3 or 4 of these back to the basics streams, so stay on the lookout for that. That is the plan right now. But yeah, that was today's stream, guys. Just a little quick stream to let you know, especially, like I said, the new people here, anxiety and panic, not going to kill you. I don't care how intense it gets. You're not going to die from it. I don't care how intense it gets. You're not going to go insane. You're not going to go crazy. I don't care how intense it gets. You're always going to be sane and alive as far as anxiety and panic is concerned. You have really nothing to lose as far as facing anxiety and panic goes. It can't kill you, and it's not going to make you go crazy, right? So just a back to the basic stream. You've got nothing to lose. You might as well jump into acceptance. Somebody said how to remove intrusive thoughts. You don't remove intrusive thoughts. You don't try to. The more you try to remove intrusive thoughts, the more power you give them. So of course they're going to be relevant, right? So don't try to remove anything. Accept it. Don't argue with it. Don't get up in your head and try to fight with it. Just let it be there. And while you continue on with your life with positive, accepting behaviors. So the thoughts are there. The symptoms are there. The feelings are there. You're not trying to fight any of it off because you can't. You literally can't. That's just giving it more power. You're saying, okay, thoughts are there, feelings are there. I'm just going to carry on with my day with positive behaviors. Show my brain that these thoughts aren't needed, that these feelings aren't needed by allowing them to be there and just carrying on with my day with positive, productive, accepting behaviors, right? So you're triggered, your brain expects you to go hide, but instead you're going to carry on with your day with a smile. You might have to make yourself, right? And you're going to have a productive day despite feeling like crap. That's going to tell your brain that the trigger is not needed. It takes time for your brain to learn, so you got to keep at it. You got to be dedicated, right? So back to the basic stream. Anxiety and panic cannot kill you, and they cannot make you go crazy. All right. So if you enjoyed this little stream, if you're looking forward to more of these back to the basic streams, make sure you give it a thumbs up to let me know that you enjoyed it. But that was the point of today's stream, guys. We're going to move on over to the post stream. Why is my mic not working on the, hold on, let me fix it. There we go. Okay, I had it switched to the wrong thing. Yeah, the comments should be working. The comments should be. Is the comments messed up for anybody else? I think Olivia's having trouble with the comments. Abraham with the $5 tip, dude, you caught me mid-rant, says, don't let me interrupt your rant, Wonder Pro. Thank you so much, dude, for the $5 tip. I really appreciate you, man. Let's see. I know I missed a bunch of comments. We'll try to scroll up a bit. Let's see. Hey, bro, I have high anxiety about fighting in a school of being beated, so I have to face it. I have to fight them. No. When we say accept anxiety, we're talking strictly about anxiety. We're not talking about you have to face people and beat them up. I'm not really sure what you mean. We're talking strictly about anxiety. We're talking about anxiety. We're not necessarily saying that you have to go beat people up. Not really sure. No, sorry, they're on screen now. Okay, yeah, there's no comments on the screen on the when we're doing the main point. They're on the screen on post stream though. I don't put them on the screen during the main point of the stream just because I want people to focus. I want people to focus on the message and not get too lost in the comments. But during post stream, we will always run those comments. Hello, Wonder Bro. My birthday today. Anxiety giving me an amazing anxiety day. It's your birthday today. Happy birthday, dude. Are thoughts harmless? Does the law of attraction work with anxious thoughts? The law of attraction, which this is funny to me because I've ran into this problem quite often since I've been doing this. A lot of people hear about this law of attraction thing, which I don't really get into. I don't even state my opinion on it. A lot of people have this OCD kind of revolving around this law of attraction thing. I'm going to tell you that just because you have a thought which is out of your control does not mean that some force is going to make that come to pass, right? These thoughts are not something that you are consciously choosing. Therefore, it is not your responsibility. Therefore, it's not your responsibility. Therefore, it's not something that you are conjuring up, right? So treat these thoughts as irrelevant because that's really what they are at the end of the day. They're completely irrelevant. You give them power by wanting to fight with them. You give them power by giving so much of an argument with them, right? But that does not mean that you're going to conjure them up, right? That does not mean just I have an intrusive thoughts about this thing, so this thing's going to happen. It does not work that way. I can tell you from my own personal experience with a ton of intrusive thoughts back in the day, none of those were quote-unquote manifested, right? It just does not work that way. Two totally different topics. So no, you do not have to worry about that. I know that that's a common theme that OCD takes with like manifesting, and it does not work that way. You are completely safe. Don't you worry about it. Hey, Wonder Bro, I've almost recovered, and after some months, I get this feeling of losing control. Allow the feeling of losing control, right? See, what we talk about here is all about allowing. It's all about allowing. What you fight, you give power to. So you accept the thoughts that you're having, and you accept the feelings that those thoughts bring. You don't need to fight with any of them. You don't need to talk back with any of them. You can just remind yourself to accept them and get on with your day. So the less power you give these things, the less power they're going to have over you, right? But the more power you give to them, the more power they're going to have over you. So it's all about, what you give power to, what you give power to. If you kind of just accept that these things are occurring and don't try to do anything about it, don't try to fight with it, right? They're going to lose power, lose power, lose power, lose power, right? So somebody in the chat says, I'm having some anxiety again. I believe your name is Pawn. Pawn. Having some anxiety again, right? Well, are you going to give that power? Are you not going to give that power? It's all about what you give power to. If the feelings are there, right, and you say, okay, this feeling's there, there's nothing I need to do about it, right? So you don't need to fight with it. You don't need to argue with it. There's no need for any of that. Same with the thoughts, right? Again, what you fight with, you give power to. And if you just accept that this feeling is there, right? It might not be comfortable. It doesn't have to be comfortable. I accept that this feeling is there. I accept that this thought is there, right? And that's as far as you take it. That's as far as you take it. I accept that it's present. There's nothing I need to do about it. I'm just going to get on with my day as normal. I'm not going to allow it to change my behaviors, to change my actions, right? I'm not going to allow it to change my behaviors, to change my actions. Sanchez, what is up, dude? Welcome to the stream, man. Sherry, welcome. How are you doing? That's my fear. Losing control during a panic attack won't happen. Won't happen. I'm here to spoil the ending for you. Will not happen. I've got to spoil the ending for you a bit. You are safe. Let's see. I'm going to switch microphones. It's going to sound a little crappy for a second. It's going to sound a little crappy. Yeah, that definitely sounds crappy compared. But, let's see. It's the only way I can take you guys with me. So, yeah, you can fear losing control due to anxiety and panic all day long, which I did for a long time, but it's not going to happen. I'm spoiling the ending for you a bit. I don't mean to spoil the ending for you. But it's not going to happen. You're not going to die. You're not going to go crazy. The worst thing that can happen is that you're going to continue to stress yourself out. Now, that can happen, right? I mean, that's why you're all here to begin with, is because you've stressed yourself out. You're looking for answers. Let's see. I'm going to scroll up a little bit more. Hope everyone's having a good day. I've been doing so much better that I no longer feel I need to be here every time. Thank you, Chris, for all your help. Absolutely truth. You probably already left by now, but absolutely. Let's see. Yeah, anxiety forms. Avoid. Avoid. I don't say the term avoid often, but avoid. You don't need anxiety forms in your life. They're usually just filled with people fear-mongering and or people who don't know what they're talking about. Not worth going. Not worth the visit. Let's see. Making a lot of progress. Keep it up, dude. Every day I'm feeling amazing physically, regardless my intrusive thoughts hitting me, doing my job, enjoying my day. That's what it's all about. No longer giving it power, getting on with your day. Sometimes it wants to stop you right in your tracks and you want to change your entire life for it. Don't go that route. Don't go that route. That's what anxiety wants you to do. And if you're going to make progress, you have to do the opposite of what anxiety wants you to do. Always kind of think in those terms. It's helpful to always think in those terms. I'm going to do the opposite of what anxiety wants me to do. What's up, SS67? What's up, dude? How are you doing? How are you doing? Does long time anxiety and panic cause psychosis? No. No. If that was the case, I definitely would have developed that. So, if that was the case, I would have already been there. I spent a very long time with severe anxiety and panic. Of course, that was due to my own lack of knowledge, right? I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know that you're not supposed to fight the thoughts and feelings. You're supposed to just continue to live your life. Don't go to bed. Don't go to the couch. Just keep living. I didn't know any of this, so I was doing all the wrong things, and it really left me pretty screwed up for a bit with a ton of anxiety and panic. But I did not develop any illnesses, mental illnesses, physical problems. No, I didn't die. I didn't go crazy. None of that good stuff. Hey, keep it up, miss. Is this video going to be uploaded? Yes. I try to upload all of them. Unless it's just like a hangout stream where it doesn't really benefit the channel, then I won't upload it. But I got to go back to work, keep practicing, people. I can't believe my progress. You were awesome, Pooty. Listen to this guy. Yes, it's hard, but it's worth it. Don't waste time trying to figure it out. Yeah, figuring out is the same as fighting with it. Don't waste your time. Just continue living. Your brain will see that the threat does not exist. And the point of this stream is that no matter how intense, it will not harm you. It will not hurt you mentally or physically. You are safe. You might as well get started using the advice. You might as well. Hope you have a good day, Pooty. Thanks for stopping by, dude. What's up, Wolf? Welcome, man. Welcome. Hope you're having a great morning. Good morning. Good to see all of your faces. How's everybody's day been? How has everybody's day been? Well, I hope. I'll get us some music going in just a second, by the way. I know we don't have any music. All right, let's get that music going. Let's get some tunes. 8 p.m. here. Wow, it is like 10 in the morning here. There we go. There we go. How was I introduced to the Claire books? Just self-research. Just self-research. Got lucky. Got lucky. I found the one resource that exists that's actually factual and worth a shit, basically. How to not do what intrusive thoughts want. So you're not going to act on your intrusive. You're not going to act on a thought just because you've had a thought, right? And how to not thinking about it. Stop trying to not think about them. The more you try to not think about them, the more you're thinking about them by default. Isn't that ironic? Isn't that sweet irony, right? So instead of trying to not think about a thought, how about you just say, okay, well, if that thought comes, it comes, right? And if that thought wants to stay for a bit, it can stay for a bit, right? And then you just interest yourself in other things in life. You just keep living life. You focus on living life, and whatever wants to happen in the background is allowed to happen, right? Wonder, bro, what is my role in healing? Will my body heal itself if I just let it be? Your body and mind will heal themselves if you stop trying to force it, if you stop trying to fight with it, argue with it, debate with it. Just allow your thoughts and feelings to be as they are, right? Your role in healing is just to continue living. Do not stop living because of your anxiety. If you stop living, you're just giving this thing power, right? So if you want to teach your brain that you're okay, that there is no real threat, that there is no real danger, get up and live life. Be productive, have fun. You might not feel like doing these things, but make yourself do them, right? You've got to prove to your brain that this tiger does not exist. So get up, get living, accept the thoughts and the feelings. You might not feel like living, but do it anyway. Accept the thoughts and feelings, and your body and mind will take care of itself. So we're going to switch back over to the good mic. There we go. There we go. Sound much better, doesn't it? Sounds much better. Wow, all sorts of new faces in here. All sorts of new faces in here. That's why I'm kind of excited to do these back to the basics streams. I feel like we're going to introduce some new people to the channel. Yo, Sanchez, my boy, how have you been? How have you been, my boy? My boy. How have you been? So the goal right now is to do like 3 or 4 of these streams, and I'm probably gonna put them in their own playlist. I feel like that'll be beneficial. So if we've got like any newcomers to the channel, we can send them to that playlist. Like, look, watch all the Back to the Basics videos, and you'll get caught up in no time. You'll get caught up on the main points in no time. Mr. 69er in the building. Mr. 69er in the house. What's up, Arnold? How you doing? Felt good. I love to hear it, dude. Love to hear it. Hey, man, keep it up. You've been kicking ass. Kicking ass. It's finally out of the hospital. We are home. Nice. It was a challenge, just the emotional anxiety from her being sick. It's been a roller coaster. Well, she is back home now, so we can get you back on the wagon. I'm sure you were doing your best to practice acceptance during that experience too, right? Right? I hope. But either way, regardless, out of the hospital, back home, we can get you back on track or stay on track, right? Whichever applies to you. But I'm glad she's doing better. I'm glad she's out of the hospital. That's awesome, Sherry. Yes, I practice most definitely. Okay, good. Good, because sometimes people do let go of the advice just because they've got a difficult life situation going on. They just completely forget about acceptance and throw it all out the window. And that's why I'm like always reminding people, no, this is good life advice too. Like, acceptance is huge. Acceptance is major, even if it comes to life situations, you know, that you're not wanting to add worry to. And you know, you want to keep those positive behaviors up. You want to keep living. You don't want to let anything drive you back into behaving a way you don't want to behave. So, you know, you always want to be sending that positive message to the brain as far as anxiety is concerned, and that is, you know, included with real life situations. So I'm glad you did not make that mistake. I'm glad you did not put down acceptance just because of a difficult life situation. Good job, Sherry. Good job. Chiropractor, is that where they pop your back and stuff? My life is a roller coaster, lol. So I am very proud for handling it so much better than I used to because it's a challenge every day. Absolutely, and that's progress. You don't have to be perfect, right? You don't have to be like, oh, I'm Sherry and I am encountering a difficult life situation and I am just kicking ass and I am Superwoman, right? Like that does not have to be your goal. The goal can be progress, and the fact that you are, that you said you're handling it better than you used to, that's progress. You're moving forward. Forward is forward, right? Forward is forward. So that's all that matters. That is all that matters. Before, you probably would have just kind of shut down and got all, quiet and to yourself and defensive and but you're not doing that now. Now you're taking charge a little bit, and you might not be Superwoman, but you are getting closer. Right? You are handling it. You are handling it. You are accepting it. You are not letting it drive you into a hole, right? And that is what matters. That is what matters. Progress is progress, and there's no doubting that. So absolutely congrats. You like the new music? Is there new? I haven't checked it out yet. Do you upload some new stuff, Arnold? Before, I would have looked for my husband to handle it because I lost that confidence after the trauma. But now I'm finding myself again, and that confidence. Thank you, Wonder Bro. Absolutely, and that confidence will always be there. You just got to pull it out. So we've talked about this before. A lot of people think that they have to wait until they feel a certain way to act a certain way or to take the action, right? To take the action. So no, feeling follows action. Feeling follows action. You have to, if you want your brain to get in line with you, if you want your brain to behave a new way, if you want to get different results, you got to take different action. So the fact that you didn't wait around for the feeling to come, no, you just instead decided to get back to it, even though you didn't necessarily feel that way. And now you're going to start to get your brain on board with you. And that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. So congrats. That's definitely progress. I even tagged you on the music channel, dude. I don't always check my tags, dude. All right, Arnold. All right, do you want to fight already, dude? It's too early, but we will go. If you want to go, we will go. I have no problem with that. We will scrap right here, right now, dude. All right, Arnold. All right, Arnold. It's up to you, man. It's up to you. We can go. We can go. Arnold's like my sassy little sister. If I waited, I would have never recovered. Exactly. There's no time to wait. There's no time to wait. You got to choose your actions now despite the way that you feel, right? Despite the anxiety. Whenever last I faced my fear, I stayed alone for 20 days. Some days were dreadful with bad feelings, but would always pass. But it was difficult. But tomorrow, I'll do that again for work some days. Well, you faced it in the past, so there's absolutely no reason why you can't face it now, right? Of course, kind of pre-shadowing the event, your mind is going to tell you all the reasons why you can't do it, right? All the reasons why you can't do it. You probably have intrusive thoughts and of course anxiety, right? Anxiety is going to be there and the symptoms. But regardless of all that, you get to make the choices, right? You get to call the shots. You get to you get to call the shots. You get to make the choices. Unfortunately, a lot of people, right? A lot of people are allowing their anxiety to call the shots for them. And as long as you allow the anxiety to call the shots for you, right, then you're going to continue to get the same results. If you want different results, you've got to take different action. And there's really no way around that, right? There's no way around that. People are waiting to feel like it before they do it. And it's just, you're going to be waiting a long time. Feeling like I don't know how to act when I get anxious. I got one answer for you. Do what you want. What's fun, right? What do you like to do, right? What do you like to do? What do you want to do? What would you, here's an even better question to ask you. What would you be doing if you weren't anxious, right? Like, would you be doing a hobby? Would you be enjoying something? Would you be enjoying a conversation with someone, or maybe a movie, or I don't know, maybe you like video games, or maybe you enjoy nature? I don't know. What would you like to do? Right? Not anxiety. We're not talking about anxiety. A lot of times when I ask that question, people answer that question based on how they're feeling with the anxiety. Well, of course, if it's up to the anxiety, you feel like running to bed, or you feel like locking yourself in your bedroom or sitting in the corner. Of course, if you answer that question based on how you feel with the anxiety, that's going to be your answer. But when I ask that question, I want your answer as if that anxiety was not present, right? So figure out how you want to behave. Figure out how you really want to live. Not what the anxiety wants you to do, but what you want to do. What you want to do. Oh yeah, you definitely can't avoid discomfort if you want growth. Discomfort is very much a part of growth. You have to prove to yourself that you can, right? And you can. All of you can, but you have to prove that to yourself, of course. Timeless, what's up, dude? What is up? What is up? I think I'm on Do Not Disturb on there, Arnold, so I don't think so. I don't think I get the red notifications. I think the channels might light up. I'm not sure. You do know, Arnold. That's an excuse. You do know that you would be enjoying your time, right? Whatever that thing might be. You know that you would be doing anything other than seeking reassurance, Googling, or any of the negative behaviors that you do when you're anxious, right? You do know that you wouldn't be doing those things. So if it wasn't for anxiety or feeling anxious, you would not be doing the things that you're doing. So stop doing those things, right? That's the same as saying, let's take someone with health anxiety, for example, right? Don't allow your mind to make up excuses. Let's take someone with health anxiety, for example, and we say, what would you be doing if you didn't have this health anxiety? And they say, oh, I don't know. And I say, well, would you, for starters, and I'm not saying you have health anxiety, this is just an example. For starters, would you be on Google looking up health conditions if you didn't have health anxiety? And they say, no, of course not. Well, okay, stop doing that. Right? So you can take the question either way. You can ask it another way. You can say, well, what would you not be doing if this anxiety wasn't a thing? And that's going to eliminate like 90% of your bad behaviors right there, because if this anxiety wasn't a thing, you wouldn't be on Google. If this anxiety wasn't a thing, you wouldn't be hiding in bed. If this anxiety wasn't a thing, you wouldn't be looking up health conditions. If this anxiety wasn't a thing, you wouldn't be seeking reassurance. If this anxiety wasn't a thing, you're right, you get what I'm saying. So you could ask the question, well, what are some things you wouldn't be doing if you weren't anxious? And that'll eliminate like 90% of the bad things that you're doing, all the negative behaviors that you're doing, that's continuing to program your brain to be anxious, right? You can't get away with these behaviors. These behaviors will continue to program your brain to believe this anxiety is a danger, right? It will. These behaviors will. Your brain's very smart. Your brain can connect the dots. It's very, very smart. It's not stupid. Like, for example, if every time anxiety is high, you run to the couch, well, your brain's going to make the connection, and it's going to take that as you running from a threat, and therefore your anxiety levels will remain high. It can connect the dots, and it's very, very smart. So you ask yourself the question, what would I not be doing if it wasn't for this anxiety? And you'll come up with a whole list of things that you wouldn't be doing, right? So cut those things out. Stop doing those things. You're only doing them because of the anxiety. All right, we'll cut them out. They're bad behaviors. They're negative behaviors. They're coping methods. They're compulsions. They're all these different behaviors that are sending the wrong message to the brain. I did things I normally wouldn't do. So it's funny you mentioned that. I had an interesting experience, got such bad tooth pain, I had to go to the ER, and I totally forgot about anxiety. It's because your mind was totally somewhere else. You were busy living. Unfortunately, you were in a ton of pain, but you were busy living, taking care of your tooth problem. Right? So you were focused on living, you were focused on something else, you were living, you were trying to get rid of your tooth pain, and that became your main priority. You were living for something other than anxiety for once. Right? You were living for something other than anxiety for once. I mean, you had something forcing you to do that. Extreme tooth pain, right? Extreme tooth pain forced you into living, and extreme tooth pain forced you into living for something other than anxiety, right? But you kind of see where we're going with this. So how do you apply that to your everyday life now that you don't have extreme tooth pain? You remember that what you give power to has power over you, simply put. So next time you're experiencing these feelings and thoughts, if you don't want them to have so much power over you, you have to stop giving them so much power. So when they're there, you just accept that they're there, right? You don't mentally try to fight or argue with them, and then you get on with your day, whatever that consists of, right? Whatever that consists of for you. You're not using the compulsions. You're not using the coping methods. You're not so focused on trying to fight these things. Why are we so stubborn? I chalk it up as just bad habits, honestly. I think all of these compulsions and coping methods and this negative behavior, this nasty negative behavior that's sending the wrong messages to the brain, it's all just habit. It's all just really strong habit. Really, really strong habit. Oh yeah, Google is a big one, Sherry. Google is a big one. Google is a big one. The more power you give to something, the more power it's going to have over you, and that is just the way it goes. That is just the way it goes. That is just the way it goes. You cannot fight this thing and win, man. You cannot fight this thing and win. That is not how this works. That is not how this works. All right, let's see. The shuttle has cleared the tower.
Every core computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Ba 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 ba. Don't worry, Arnold. I'll get to it. I'll get to it, Arnold. Don't worry. Calm down, man. Calm down. It's okay. Hospital for 3 days, lost 5 pounds, no sleep, no cigs, and made it through and only had 2 anxiety attacks. And hopefully handle those a bit better than you normally would. What behavior should we have when totally in panic mode? Put on a smile. Oof. Right? Oof. That's a big one. Why would I smile? Why would I smile when I'm full-blown panic? Right? Well, the reason you would smile if you're full-blown panic is because your brain is not going to expect that shit, right? Your brain is not going to expect that shit. It's going to say, what? there's a tiger around, which of course there's not a real tiger, but it thinks that. We got to prove to it that there's not a real tiger. There's a real tiger around, and she's smiling. So there's a start. There's a start. Something as small as that. Something as small as that, right? Don't you worry, Arnold. I got you. I got you. It's all good. It's all good. Don't stress yourself, man. Don't stress yourself, man. No stress. No stress, dude. No stress. Don't you worry. I'll get to it. Keep it a fun, happy thing. Keep it a fun, happy thing. No need to turn it into anything stressful, right? Don't stress yourself. I want you to have fun with it. Fun with it. Do it regardless because it's fun, right? That's the main reason. Do it regardless because it's fun. Hurts to smile when there's so much fear. It can almost feel like it hurts, doesn't it? It can almost feel like it hurts because that's the total opposite message of what you're used to sending. That's why it feels so weird. That's why it feels so odd. That's why it feels so foreign. You're not used to it. It's the total opposite message of what you're used to sending. But even that is a start because your brain does not expect that. There's a real tiger around and she is smiling. What the hell? Right? Right? Mint. What is up, Mint?
Donation.
Oof, spooked me. Oof. Oof. Alright. That scared me a little bit. I can't see what that is just yet, but we're about to find out. Let me switch on over. Let me switch on over. $20 tip from Soccer Mom says I had a legitimate illness that was very painful and misdiagnosed and prescribed the wrong medication. What a shitty situation. It was finally resolved 1.5 years later, but now my anxiety mostly revolved around that illness reoccurring. Okay, so real situation led to real stress, and now it's become an OCD type theme for you, which from an outside perspective I can tell you is irrational because you're no longer in that situation. So that's the outside perspective, right? That is the outside perspective. But now to prove that to your brain, that is the work. To prove that to your brain, we now have to allow that thought to be, allow the feelings to be, and have a productive day anyway. Oof. Which is going to require you to behave in ways that you don't feel like behaving. But let's say you didn't feel anxious, right? Let's say you felt great. Do that. Do the things that you would do if you didn't feel the anxiety. Now, that could be something as simple as tidying the house while you feel all this anxiety. It could be something as simple as a smile while you feel all this anxiety. It could be something as simple as listening to your favorite music while you feel this anxiety. And you can go at your own pace from there, right? But it's all about sending the correct message to the brain. There is no real danger. So now you got to prove to the brain that there's no real danger. Now, you're not going to feel like doing those things because you're anxious, right? But at the end of the day, there's no real tiger, and that thought is not a reality. So we have to prove that to the brain. So just because you don't feel like doing these things doesn't mean you shouldn't. You absolutely should. Thank you so much for the $20 tip. I really appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Show some love in the chat, please. Mint said, in a bit of a hole or setback. Well, everything I just said to Soccer Mom there, thank you again for the $20 tip, Soccer Mom, appreciate you. Everything I just said to her can apply to your situation. It can apply to any of your situations, right? That's just the basic advice right there. Damn you always makes so much sense. Think about it this way. You really feel like crud. So the chances of you wanting to smile, and that is just one example of many, many different examples of positive behavior. You smiling or making yourself smile when that trigger is there, while that trigger is happening, of course your brain is going to say, whoa, hold on. There is so much going on. I have sounded the alarm. We are code 5, red alert, triggered alarm right now, and they are smiling. I guess, why would they be smiling? I guess maybe that tiger isn't real. Because if the danger was real, they would be taking my advice right now and be running through the door, right? But they're not doing that. They're not doing that. Are smiling. Strange. Do you see where we're going with this? And like I said, that's just one of many examples. But I think you kind of get the gist of what we're saying here. Triggered by the word fur or a picture of a goat, and that's good. We need to activate those pathways to retrain them. Now, Mint, you are at the parts that a lot of people don't find too fun, and I don't blame you, but you are at the part in this recovery thing where you've got the pathways activated, but now you got to take advantage of it. Now you've got to check advantage of it. Are you going to take advantage of it? Or are you not? So we know that in order to retrain fear pathways, those pathways have to be activated. So it's a good thing that your triggers are forefront of your mind right now. It's a good thing that the triggers are activated because we cannot retrain those fear pathways unless they are activated. So being triggered is not a bad thing. It is a good thing. That is where most of the work is going to be done. Right now, it is your choice at this point if you want to look at it like that and take full advantage of it and get yourself motivated and going, or if you want to look at it as a really bad thing, right? Or if you want to look at it as a really bad thing. That is your choice to make, and that choice that you make is going to determine everything. Everything. It's going to determine literally everything. Literally everything. Literally everything. Let's see. What's up, Simon? Check my pulse a lot in the day. I always check it with my fingers. It seems I can't get rid of it. Maybe any idea how I can break this cycle? You can break the monitor. You can break the pulse reading device. That is one way, right? Or you can go at a more of a crawl space. Forward is forward regardless. Forward is forward regardless. But people oftentimes ask how to break the negative behaviors, and the answer is through sheer dedication, right? Through sheer dedication. You have got to, at some point, have your desire for a better life outweigh your desire for this short-term comfort. So at some point, the desire for a better life must outweigh your desire for the short-term comfort that you find through coping methods and compulsions. The classic, the age-old trick of the mind, Mint. The age-old trick of the mind. Again, what I just said to Simon there applies to you. So at some point, your desire for a better life, your desire to distance yourself from this anxiety, this life of anxiety that you're living, your desire for a better life has to eventually become stronger than your desire for the short-term comfort that you get from coping methods and compulsions. Eventually, you just have to realize your own worth and realize that, hey, I've got one shot at this thing called life, and I deserve a better one. And you do. You do. You absolutely do. But at some point, you have to make that choice for yourself. At some point, you have to say to yourself, I deserve better than this. And the short-term comfort is nice, but it's at what cost? At what cost is these coping methods, compulsions, and this short-term comfort that comes from doing these negative behaviors, right? What is that costing me? Well, it's costing me my life, basically. It's costing me the quality of my life is a better way to word that. It's costing me the quality of my life, and I only got one go-around at this thing, right? So, some point, your desire for a better life has got to become stronger than your desire to get short-term comfort from coping methods, compulsions, all of these negative behaviors. So that day is coming, and you know, if you really sit down and think about it, I think that day needs to come soon. I think that day needs to come soon. I think you need to kick yourself in the butt and say, hey, no, you know what? I feel like absolute crap today, but I'm going to get up, accept the best I can with these thoughts and feelings, and really prove to my brain that they're not needed. I don't feel like doing all these positive things, but I'm going to do them anyway so that I can prove to my brain that this danger does not exist, right? Tried tipping 3 times via PayPal, not going through, sorry. I don't know. I don't know why. We've had a couple tips today through PayPal, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. Maybe there's like a, I don't know what country you're in. Maybe that's what's causing it. Could be that, but no, it's no big deal, dude. No big deal. You tried, man. You tried, and it's the thought that counts. Thank you for that. The link in the description might work. I don't know. But don't stress yourself out over that. If it's not working, it's not working. It's no big deal. Fear doesn't keep you alive. Fear keeps you from living. Yes. There you go. It's a decision. It's a decision that you eventually have to make, Mint. And to a person with anxiety, that's going to feel like rolling the dice. You think, oh, if I drop the compulsions, the coping methods, if I really dedicate to this positive behavior thing and just accept my thoughts and feelings, I'm rolling the dice. That might end badly. I might get hurt by that, right? Or something bad might happen. Well, it's going to feel like a roll of the dice. But it's up for you to make, it's up to you to make that decision. You said, but I can't live in this threat state forever. All right, well, I recommend you roll the dice, and you'll see, you'll see that you made the right decision there. But, of course, I can't make that decision for you. Now, I will say this, though, right? I will say this. Once you get to 90 years old and there's no time left for you, right? There's no time left for you to dedicate to this thing. There is no time left for you to turn back the hands of time. That is impossible. And use these positive behaviors and use the advice you have gained and really give it 100% effort and dedication. Once you get 90 years old and you realize that you are out of time, it is game over, right? Well, it's going to be too late to make that decision then. So you didn't roll the dice. You lived to be 90. And man, you really wish you could turn back the hands of time and roll them dice, but it's too late now. So some people might say, well, why are you using fear as a motivator? Because, dude, you only got one life. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? You want me to just hold hands until we're all old and gray? And then it's too late? Or do you want me to be real? You want me to be honest? You got one go around. That's all you get. There's no respawns. There's no checkpoints. You get one go around. And I would hate for any of you to grow old and think to yourself, well, damn, I should have just listened to that shit. I should have just gave that shit 100% effort. Those days where I felt like crap, I should have got up and lived my life even though I didn't feel like doing it. But here it is, and it's too late, and I can't go back, and there's no going back. But, man, I really wish I would have. I don't want any of you to potentially face that fate because that sounds fucking horrible. Right? I don't want any of you to have to face that fate, right? So my point is, I think it's time, man. I think it's time because you deserve better, right? And as we sit here today, there's plenty of time. But as we keep going and going and going, one day there won't be. So as of right now, you got plenty of time. Let's get started. But one day that won't always be the case. So, I don't want any of you to have to face such a horrible fate, right? Of regret, right? Man, I should have listened, should have used that advice. I felt like crud and I should have got up and done it because that's easy compared to the regret I've got to face now, right? And you don't think that's going to happen? Well, it will. It will. You will have to face that regret one day. That's up to you. You don't have to, but that's up to you. That's up to you. That's up to you. You've got a decision to make. You can live your life being paranoid of something passing under the radar and then get to 90 and realize that, oh man, I would have been all right regardless. But, now it's too late to start, right? That's up to you. It's up to you to make the choice to say, wow, I deserve a better life, and I'm going to go for this, and I'm going to go for it with a full head of steam and dedication, and really turn my life around here, right? I'm going to change everything. It's just a decision that you have to make. It's a decision that you have to make, and anxiety can pull you one way, and you're wanting to go the other way, but you allow anxiety to pull you the other way, and then one day you're going to regret that. You're going to regret that. I can't predict the future. I can't tell you every little thing that's going to happen in your life, but I can tell you that you will regret it. I know that for a fact. I know that for a fact because every anxious person that I've ever dealt with that has health anxiety, some of them are up in age, and nothing's ever happened to them, and they'll be the first to tell you, hey, nothing ever happened to me all these years, right? They'll be the first to tell you that. You can go get your doctor checkups, and you can go get cleared from time to time. Doesn't mean anything. There's something wrong with you. Go get your checkups. What's stopping you from getting a regular checkup, right? What's stopping you from doing that? The likelihood you're going to catch some disease that's just going to kill you dead. What are we talking about here, right? What are we talking about here? So, then there just comes a really crude point where you have to say, I can live the rest of my life like this, but is that even worth it, right? Is it really worth? Like, that's a good question to kind of bring to the table. Is it really worth living the rest of your life that way? You say it's a life saving. Well, is that a life worth saving? One that's dominated by so much anxiety? No, I don't think that's worth it. I think we roll the dice, right, for a better life, because that's not a life that I feel like's worth saving. Don't let anxiety talk you into that. Don't let anxiety talk you into that. Either way, Arnold, whether you can decide on this or decide on that, the advice wouldn't change, so that's the good news. And that's the case for most of the time. The advice doesn't change. Whether you figure out this or figure out that, the advice will still be the same. This doesn't just apply to sensitization. This is a good life advice. That's a point that I often bring up with people that are consumed with health anxiety, because their biggest thing, right, with health anxiety is that something's going to kill them. They're going to drop dead of some sort of illness. So the biggest point that I always bring to the table is you're pretty miserable, right, living with health anxiety, and the most common answer that I get to that is, yes, I'm pretty miserable living with health anxiety. So I always say, well, you're pretty miserable living with health anxiety, but your whole thing is you don't want to catch something that's going to kill you or whatever. So why are you why are you fighting so hard to quote unquote stay alive, which of course we know is ridiculous, to quote unquote stay alive, right, when you're just miserable? That's not worth it. Why not just drop all that, try out acceptance, right? And then you'll have a life that you're happy to live. You'll have a life that is so much better. The quality of your life will be so much better. So the biggest thing that I tell people with health anxiety is you're quote unquote fighting to stay alive, which is miserable. So why are you even doing that? It's not worth fighting for. You're fighting to stay alive to be miserable? You are fighting to stay alive. And when I say fighting to stay alive, I say that very loosely, because we're talking about health anxiety here, or maybe this could apply to anxiety in general. But you're quote unquote fighting to stay alive, right? Wolf, dude, wolf. It worked, and you gave me a jump scare. It worked, and you gave me a jump scare. Thank you so much for the $25 tip, dude. I appreciate you. That takes us to tip goal. Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate you. We're moving on to a 125-day streak. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Maybe I got the wrong wolf. I don't know. Maybe somebody tipped that for you. I'm not gonna say. I don't wanna ruin it. So you're fighting to stay alive to be miserable. What is that worth fighting for? That doesn't sound worth fighting for. You're fighting to stay alive to be miserable. That's what health anxiety basically is. You're fighting to stay alive to be miserable another day. I'm fighting to stay alive so I can be miserable another day. Does that sound like that makes sense to you? You are fighting to stay alive so that you can be miserable another day. Yeah, that sounds like quite the fight there. Quite the noble fight there. The irony of that question, I wish I could go back to a therapist again and find what the hell is wrong with me, because I'm still just questioning. The irony of that question, or that statement, rather, is that your questioning is what's wrong with you. That's what's keeping you in a world of obsession and stress. It's so embarrassing. It might be embarrassing, but allow it to be, right? Allow it to be. And that's probably not a satisfying answer. You're like, come on, man. Well, the reality of the situation is that if you're going to sweat, you're going to sweat, right? So there's really two ways you can go with that. You can fight reality, right? You can fight reality, or you can accept what is. The little life I have is better than ruining it, but you're currently ruining it, right? And that's something you have to accept. You have to accept that you can live the little life that you have, quote unquote, and it be miserable, right? But you have to understand that what's really ruining it is not this hypothetical about what might happen if you're not running to the ER all the time, right? That's, this hypothetical that something bad's going to happen, that will ruin my life. Well, no, you're currently ruining it with the hypotheticals, right? And that's something you got to accept. So you got to accept that, okay, yeah, there's always a chance. I mean, I could drop dead right now of a heart attack with the way that I smoke, right? And I could be worried about that. Or I can live each day to the fullest, right? And accept that, things do happen in life. And that doesn't mean you can't go get a checkup. Doesn't mean you can't go to the doctor if you feel like something's seriously wrong. But to spend each day paranoid about hypotheticals, right? Like, oh, this could happen, and that could ruin my life. Well, that's what's ruining your life. The hypotheticals are ruining your life, not this thing that may or may not even ever happen. So you do at some point have to accept that it's not the creeping boogeyman that's around the corner that might get you eventually. that could ruin your life. No, the life is currently being ruined by the hypotheticals, right? So you got to understand your quality of life is going to increase tenfold, right? When you let go of thinking something's going to come along and get me, right? It's the thinking that something's going to come along and get me that's doing the damage far more than anything that could ever come along and get you would be. But see, that does bring us to like another kind of like question where it's like, I don't know. Me personally, I don't know if fighting to be miserable would be enough for me. Maybe you have to raise your standards, right? Maybe that's what it is. Maybe you have to raise your standards on what you qualify as a good life. You know, if you're happy with running to the ER every other day, right? If you're happy with running to the doctor every other day, and you're happy with that life, who am I to tell you, right? Who am I to tell you to change it? Be happy with that life. If you're satisfied with that and you're content with that, then so be it. But I don't think you are. I don't really think you are. I don't really think you are, if you want to know the truth. I don't think you are content with the quote-unquote little life that you have. And I'm addressing everybody, not just one person. I'm addressing everybody. I don't think you are truly content with living the way that you're living. I don't think you are truly content with being locked away. I don't think you are truly content with having to live the life that you're living, the way that you're currently living. I don't think you really are content with that. I don't think you really are. Whatever the situation might be, I'm not just talking about going to the ER or the doctors over health anxiety. I'm talking about anxiety as a whole now. You know, people say, well, I don't want to give up my compulsions, my coping methods, or, you know, and you know, if you're content with that, who am I to tell you to change? But if I'm being honest with you, I don't think you really are content with that. I don't think you really are happy with that. And I can tell you why I don't think you're content with that. Because you wouldn't be here if you were content with that. Right? I think you do want better for yourself. I think you do want a better way of living. I think you are sick of this thing. And I don't really think that anybody here is content if they're still in the compulsions and the coping methods. I don't think you really are content with the life that you're living. And I think you do want better, and I know that you do deserve better. That's what I think. That's what I think. I think you're afraid, right? And that's okay. I think you're afraid. I think you're afraid of what might happen if you dedicate to the things that you hear here on the channel. I think you're afraid of what might happen if you live life with those positive behaviors and you face the anxiety. I think you're afraid. And I also think that that's okay. But I do not think you're content. And I do not think that you are truly happy with the way that you're living, and I think you do know that you deserve better, right? But that's up to you to decide. That's up to you to decide. If you're happy with the way that you're living, then be happy with it. You know, you don't want to change it, don't change it. But if you want better, better exists. Better exists. It sure does. It sure does. Oh my God, Mint. Mint is cyberbullying me again. I'm gonna have to change your nickname to Cyberbully. Well, try to keep in mind, Mint, that mental compulsions exists. exists, right? Try to keep in mind that mental compulsions are very much a thing. What are mental compulsions? Mental compulsions are any kind of trying to disprove thoughts, any kind of arguing, fighting, mental reassurance. Mental compulsions are definitely a thing, and it's basically anything you do to try to fight the anxiety, right? It's just you're not doing it in the physical world, you're doing it in the mental world. And that's why we say try to have that accepting attitude while living your life, right? So that's why the two main keys are what they are, because it tackles both mental and physical. Positive behaviors in the physical world, accepting attitude in the mental world. It tackles both fronts there. It tackles the mental world and it tackles the physical world. Two main keys are what they are for a reason. For a reason. Yep, Mint is officially cyberbullying me today. Officially cyberbullying me today. It's okay. You've got months and months and months of a free pass to cyberbully me because you've been like the sweetest person here for the longest time. So you get a free pass for a while. For a little while. All right, guys, this stream has went on longer than the normal hour mark. We're on to an hour and a half now, so we are going to go ahead, switch on over. Wait. Okay, yeah, I still got a mic input on this stream. I wasn't sure, so I paused there for a second. But yes, I can still talk on the end screen. We're going to go ahead and wind this one down. We are at an hour and a half. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you. I don't know if he is still here or not, but we are. I think I bookmarked it. I thought I did, but I'm not seeing it. I thought I bookmarked it. Okay, well, there goes that plan. I didn't bookmark it, apparently. We're just going to listen to our usual song today. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you. I love you. Like I said, we're going to try to do more of these back to the basic streams, at least 3 or 4. Just for the newcomers here on the channel to get caught up. But keep in mind that every stream that you see here on the channel, I try to cover everything. So you don't have to watch all of my streams to make progress. I try to sum it up, the point of recovery, how to heal, in every stream that I do, right? But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Leave a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I love you so much. Thank you for all of your support. And until next time, as always, stay awesome.
Whatever you want, I'll be whatever you want. Just tell me you love me or not, whatever it costs. I know I'm talking a lot, there's something I gotta get off. Don't wanna be this no more, I don't wanna drink no more. Always gotta do the most, thinking that I'm insecure. Really should've listened more, but I don't, of course. I'm an asshole, I'm a good guy, I'm your best friend, I'm the worst type. Tell you everything that you heard right, just so I can fuck on the first night. Feel like I'm losing hope, running from coast to coast. I don't know where to go, this all I've ever known. I'm a stone cold killer, I'm a billionaire. I got my own gold digger. If I wasn't this way, I'd rather die. No, did it die? Wait, did it die? Wait, did it die? I'm a stone cold killer, I'm a billionaire. I got my own gold digger. If I wasn't this way, I'd rather die. Won't die. Did it die? Wait, did it die? Wait, did it die? My aunt think I'm perfect, I know I'm not. My mama be worried, I told her stop. They know I did drugs and think that I'm off. Little do they know I never could stop. My manager hate when I'm pulling up late. Back on my bullshit, she think it's a phase. I got relations I gotta maintain. I'm 2 different people, my side and my main. Yeah, I'm I'm sober, I'm an addict, I'm a low life, I got habits, but I refuse to be average. Really so tired of acting, don't know what I miss no more. Too bad you don't hit me more. I'm bad when I get too bored. Careful what you wishing for. I'm a stone cold killer. I'm a billionaire. I got my own